Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 13 of What If Naruto Was a Elite Blue Uchiha. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Lost Everything over on Anime King 2. And enjoy that guys. And if you're new and this is the first time you're hearing my voice, I also have Anime King 3. Yes, you heard that correctly. I have 3 channels, Anime King 2 and Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last part we left off, Uchiha made her way rather quickly, as she escaped the base that she was brought down in. Kakashi was heavily injured, and Yamato was never going to be a ninja again after what she did to him. As she made her way, as she was about to escape, but she came upon Konan. Yes, Konan was there guarding the entrance. As she fled, but Konan chased after her. The both of them started a battle outside, but Konan was too much for her given the fact that she was low on chakra at the moment and her chakra was still out of fizz because of Kakashi Genjutsu. As Kabuto then came, the girl was obsessed with Naruto, and Uchiha knew that, as Naruto had told her that she was one of the stone orphans that he saved, and the girl became obsessed with him. She was Orochimaru's apprentice. As Kabuto joined in the fray, but Konan was just too much for them, as she was able to beat them back. Uchiha then used a special technique of hers. She had a blade that she gotten from the hidden star, the metal, crafted, a meteor that fell from the sky a long time ago. As she used the crescent moon ability, but it has a sacrifice. Yes, you had to sacrifice something. As she created a moon, a literal moon, that hovered in the air and trapped Konan inside and sent her where the meteor came from, light years away from Earth. But her hands became black, as it had a cost. The black metal of the sword run down towards her hand, and she couldn't feel them. They were black, her fingers, she couldn't move them, not even one bit, as Kabuto came over to help her. Meanwhile, as Naruto picked Dater from a far distance away as the man dropped dead, he then took out Sasori. As he made his way, he then took out Kakazu, as Tobi was nearby. Obito under his mask was furious as he rushed off towards Naruto's location, only to find a letter. As he made his way, he came by the Seiki clan, as he saw Naruto there, playing with the children of the clan head. As Naruto turned to speak to the man, Obito was just broken as Naruto had just wiped out the Akatsuki that he was creating. As Naruto seemed a bit angry that the man had tried to attack Kushina so the people of the village could pay. Obito was just furious because Kakashi had stole Obito's eye. Kakashi was obsessed with Minato praise, and he believed if he had the Sharingan to become stronger that Minato would be happy. So yes, he took Obito's eye and left the man for dead. Rin, she knew what happened. She had a big crush on Kakashi back then, but she couldn't bear it. She couldn't bear it anymore. She wanted to tell. Her mind couldn't sleep at night, as she couldn't believe that she actually left Obito like that. So she was going to tell, but Kakashi took care of the problem as he killed her, saying that Kiri had took her and placed a Bijo inside of her to attack the village, but it was all a lie. And everyone believed Kakashi because no one saw any other witness. Yes, it seems like Kakashi had slaughtered his 2 teammates just because he wanted to make Minato proud. As Naruto made a deal with Obito, kill Kakashi and he would bring back Ren. Leave Kakashi's body somewhere so Minato can find it. As his mind was telling him not to. Well, he really wanted to hurt Kakashi, but that was not the thing. His mind was telling him not to make this deal with Naruto. As he just shook Naruto's hand, he felt a dread wash over him. As Naruto gave him a time frame where to do it. And if he did not, there would be consequences. After all, he never asked for the consequences. Not to mention bringing Ren back. There will be consequences, but still. That was up to Obito. As Obito saw Naruto walking off as he asked him where he was going. Naruto simply smiles. He said that he was going to kill a god. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check out for yourself. So this is the beginning of this new episode. It was raining, Indian rain. Like usual, raincoats and waterproof under clothing with a style in this season. A man named Uno laughed at his own joke as the heavy pour was coming down hard. The thunder, the lightning, the clouds rumble. Talking to his stepmother had worked as he thought. He snorted at his joke, making jokes at the table. Made her opinion on him even worse. Well, not that she liked him in the first place. And whenever she got angry, she spoke so everyone could hear. Inviting her and the rest of the family over for dinner was an amazing idea, he told himself. How stupid he was. As he was on top of his roof, someone came walking over towards him and sat down. Could have been worse, little bro. As Uno turned his head, I do the jokes, he said. Cause you're so damn funny. His brother, bigger brother that was 17, Obi, said that scoff. Look, you could have met her in the middle. That's all I'm trying to say, said Obi. Tell that to her, said Uno. Why do you think I bothered to invite you guys for dinner that I made? I'm just tired of Dad's wife. Our new mom, Obi said. You're awfully quick of accepting her, said Uno. Well, Dad loved her, apparently. So I'm trying to see what he sees in her, maybe. That is why she gets along with you better, Uno said, as he pulled his raincoat over his head even more. She just feels sorry for me, Obi said. Not this again, Uno said. You're here to cheer me up, not the other way around. This is my last night in the rain. And here I thought I could have one decent meal with that woman. And here you come with your problems. Come on, little bro, Obi said. Laugh at my pain. It's way better than wallowing in yours. Tonight is for celebrating, man. So, where did Lady Conan post you? Snow Country, Uno said. That is where Dad's wife was posted when she was on duty. As Obi laughed. Look, rain ninjas, when they were suitably trained, they were sent out of the hidden rain to infiltrate other villages, nations, and impersonate other shinobis as a test of their training in the hidden rain. Once they receive a call back from Lady Conan, they would return and give the knowledge that they had acquired while they stay at the hidden village. They did this many times before, as the hidden rain had a lot of information about skills and techniques from other nations and village. They had been doing this since the end of Second War, and no country was able to pick up on this. Yes, they were that skilled. You could have been luckier if you chose to become a ninja, Uno said. As he understood it was too late for his older brother to become a ninja, but he still had hope. How many albino shinobis do you know, little bro? As Uno looked up. Well, off the top of my head, Naruto Uchiha, the guy they call Blue. Dude, really? Said Obi. Konoha Undead Sniper? I don't know if it's some repressive gene or something like that, but what I read last year in the library is pupils tremble before they activate into the Sharingan. And when he is thinking really hard, they ripple for a moment. The medical report had been stolen from Orochimaru abandoned lab. The night when she fled Konoha, the chaos and the search going on. The infiltrating rage nobles were able to get inside of Orochimaru Forest of Death lab. It wasn't the first report they found, but it was the most interesting because they could barely get anything from Orochimaru. The Uchiha bloodline was always dominant, but given the numerous experiments Orochimaru did on herself to extend her life, that was the best explanation they could come up with, given the reason why Naruto had that blonde streak running through his hair, not to mention his blue Sharingans. Much like everyone else in the rest of the continent, they believed that Blue was an anomaly. He was friendly, sociable, but towards enemy he was ruthless, showed no mercy. Overall, he was quiet, he was careful, and he was dangerous and deadly. The simple fact that he was alive, even after being proven by the fourth Kage himself, was worrying. Minato was a friend to the Rain Kage and his origami angel. They shared a bond by being students of the late Toad Sage, a man they publicly and privately disconnect themselves from. The reason why The Rain Kage and Konan lend their support to contain the Blue Uchiha. Was that small, that still small, tiny connection they had with the Toad Sage. The older brother, who was albino, shook his head. This is the best life for me. The Hidden Rain is the perfect place for me to live. I honestly feel sorry for anyone like me that lives in the sand. Naruto Uchiha doesn't count, he said. Say what you want, I don't care anymore. I'm leaving for snow tomorrow. You're not even going to lecture me about loving myself and being more adventurous, the older brother said. Shove it. Where? Screw you, the 15-year-old said. As Obi started to laugh. You know, as that favorite child, I'm telling you, they chill out every once in a while. There's no point letting your stepmom rile you up. You're the shinobi of the family. You made it, you know that, right? No pressure, Uno said. Idiot, what I'm saying, that could be the reason why stepmom doesn't like you. Cause you can do all those crazy jutsus. And we humans have to walk the earth. Dad retires a genin and stepmom. She can't use chakra anymore. So we are just normal human civilians. While you're the awesome, godlike shinobi. This brings us back to you becoming a ninja. You could do way more than just being a civilian. I'm happy where I am. I got an okay job at the Hidden Rain Tower. An awesome girlfriend. And a nice little place. Close to work. Sure, Uno paused as he spotted a small speck a distance away into the northern area. Walking towards the Hidden Rain, he was confused. Who the hell was that approaching the Hidden Rain at such an easy pace? As he pulled out his binoculars, as he narrowed his eyes, the person was holding a black umbrella over his head. As the man pushed his glasses up his eyes, it was none other than Naruto Blue Uchiha himself. As his glasses hide his milky white eyes as he made his way calmly towards the Hidden Rain, dark black sleeve shirt with shinobi pants with sandals and bandage tied around his feet. His shuriken and kunai pouches were on his thighs. Information on the identity of the infamous Blue Uchiha after the Third Great Shinobi War had been leaked mysteriously by the Hokage office. Shortly after Blue demise, Minato was the one that done it. So the information in the bingo book was updated from a C to a A, as the other countries believe that he wasn't worth a S or a double S rank because they didn't see him as a threat. After all, he just used a sniper of his, and he didn't interact and fight with people that way. Not much sight of him on the battlefield. So Kumo, Waterfall and Stone, those places thought that he wasn't a threat. Seeing that he refused direct combat, they didn't see him as one. But they should know all these years, he was able to hide his skills and be a C rank. That was just a testament of how powerful of a shinobi he truly is. No one was ever able to push him to a point where they could see what he was fully made of. The village of the Hidden Rain lit up in alarm after Uno had saw Naruto coming. This wasn't because they saw him as a visible threat. It was because it was impossible for anyone to enter the rain and get close like this to the village without being detected. Yes, it was impossible. Even now, the rain could barely detect him. Blue had effectively cancelled out his own chakra. A small smirk was on his lips as he stopped 20 yards away from the entrance. He relaxed the umbrella as it leaned on his shoulder still, protecting him from the rain. The gates of the village swung open as he simply looked to the right. Footsteps surrounding him rather quickly. Alright, he said. Like he didn't have an option anymore as he was surrounded. He walked straight into the Hidden Rain. The gates shut behind him with a bang as the Hidden Rain was still. No person, not even a single one, could be seen as he was being guided. His feet directed him deep into the village. He got to the Hidden Rain Tower as the front doors threw open, inviting him inside. On the other side of that door was a wall of blackness, a void of nothingness. As Blue stood there, sensing the person inside that wanted to rip him to shreds, his sensory ability stretched far up the building, amongst the gleaming glass and the metal. As he opened his mouth and shouted, "Nagato!" His voice vibrated through the village, humming with unbridled power. "I know that you can hear me. I know that you can see me," he said. "Come out!" There was a pause, as nothing was said, until Kisame came out of the double door of the entrance. The door shut behind him with a click. The blue-skinned man had a smirk, a wide smirk on his face. The bandage figure of Samihata that was wrapped on his back was dancing in excitement ready to sink its teeth into its prey as Kisame casually approached Blue, as he was taller than the black blonde Uchiha. As they were surrounded, rain ninjas were at a safe distance in a circle, on walls, everywhere. Blue stopped counting after he reached 300, as he turned his face towards Kisame. Newberry, warn me not to fight you, said Kisame, as he referred to the wielder of the sword by her blade, seeing that she didn't provide her name to any of her comrades when they were still a unit. Naga was a name that Blue had assigned to her, a name that she had accepted. She said, Kisame laughed that you were under her protection. Can you believe that? As Blue smile increased a bit. I do, actually. Newberry, or Naga, was ranked 3rd strongest in the hidden mist for the swordsman under Kisame, and she used that position as a holder of the twin Kiba blades to communicate with her comrades, former comrades that is. Stay away from the Blue Uchiha. That was what she said. I never liked that chick, said Kisame. She's too quiet. I'm not a fan of quiet people. They have too many secrets. So tell me, do you know what's gonna happen now, Uchiha Naruto? Blue raised an eyebrow. I don't. Why don't you tell me, he asks. I'm going to peel off your skin bit by bit, inch by inch, and send it to Newberry. Then I'm going to tear off your arms and legs, give them to Samihata, and leave the rest of you for Lord Pain. He won't mind. Lord Pain only wants you dead. Blue stepped back 5 steps as he lowered his umbrella and closed it. And you're confident enough that you can finish the job. He stabbed the umbrella in the ground as the ground cracked. Spiderwebs cracks spreading out from it. He released as he scratched his cheek a bit. Well, he said. Kisame only laughed as he took Samihata off his back. Blue then looked up. If I have to slaughter this entire village before getting to you, or you come to me, I don't mind. As he pulled his other hand out of his pocket. I really don't mind at all. You can't hide behind them forever, Nagato. As Blue flared his chakra. Boom! Heat from the underworld exploded out of him. As it was hot, chillingly hot. All of them took a step back as they felt the bearing pressure on their souls. The heat then rushed back inside of Blue, like it was never there. Despite not feeling heat any longer, they noticed the rain sizzle and evaporate half an inch away from Blue's body. A twisted, psychotic smirk crawled up Naruto's face. Kisame swallowed, his body tingling. The feeling just made him more excited. Let's do this, as he moved, as he brought Samihata down. Alright, said Naruto, as he ducked. Moved out of the way as he pulled the kunai as Kisame slammed Samihata where he was. As he brought his foot up and slammed it against Samihata and threw the kunai that he had in his hand. But Kisame burst into water as the weapon pierced his stomach. The real Kisame appeared behind Naruto with a downward swing. But then Kisame noticed the ninja wire connected to Blue's finger that was connected to the kunai that he had dodged, as Blue was already going through hand signs and he was finished. Lightning release. Live wire. White energy exploded out and slammed right into Kisame's stomach. Thousands of volts coursed through Kisame's veins. He dropped towards his knees, his hand gripping his blade tight as his muscles fizz and sizzle. Standing and looking, Blue frowned. You can't be serious, he said. As he increased the voltage, steam was coming from Kisame as his mouth opened in a scream of terrifying cry, but nothing was coming out. His throat was constricted and unable to do anything. As Naruto pulled the kunai and caught it, Kisame dropped to his hands and feet. As he was panting, he was still holding on to Samihata somehow. Kisame struggled to get back up to his feet, shaking badly. Oh, did I use too much chakra, Blue said. Was that intentional? Yes. Kisame got up as Naruto brought his hands together, blocking the strike. As he moved and brought up his leg, Kisame blocked it. He twisted though. One powerful roundhouse kick and Kisame was sent flying back. Kisame tore off his shirt as he gripped his chest tight. He took several deep breaths as he formed a single hand sign. Water release. Great exploding water colliding wave. Blue sucked in air and closed his mouth. The water burst from Kisame's throat. It swallowed a large part of it in the rain. going straight up, even covering the in-rain Kage's tower. But Naruto wasn't even phased as he still stood on the ground. He was anchored to it by chakra. The draining system of the inner ring was unable to handle so much water. The ninjas that got caught up quickly snapped on their oxygen masks as they were now able to breathe, as the drains were closed shut. So Nagato didn't want to show himself yet, as he was helping out Kisame. Same had to curl around Kisame as the both of them merged together into one being. As Kisame blazed through 3 hand signs, water presence, short dance technique, as the water gathered and turned into a giant ball with Kisame at the center. But Naruto was still on the ground, one hand in his pocket, the other one in the kunai that had damaged Kisame so thoroughly. And he was still not moving. The umbrella that he stabbed in the ground was also contained in the dome of water. The Blue Uchiha leaned back casually as he just observed, not moving 1 inch. His black shade slipped off his face and he allowed it to fall as he was pulled inwards towards Kisame. His milky white eyes squinted as he stashed his kunai back in the pouch. Kisame shot forward. Blue stepped forward, one hand behind his back, the other one forward. This strong fist fighting style, my guy would be proud, as Kisame swam forward quickly and Naruto met him right out in the open. Hell was gonna ensue between them. Meanwhile, sooner or later, you will face him yourself, Zetsu said, speaking with 2 different voices. One light and seeming to be a bit childish, while the other one was deep and dark. Half of his body was coming out of the mechanical walker, as he was unaffected by the multiple black rods that were stabbing into the right head, who looked most like a skeleton, having his chakra pour into those metal rods. The place rumbled. He is a force of nature. It will happen, Zetsu said. His purple Rinnegan eyes. Nagato looked at nothing in particular as he just looked down. Why did you have to get involved? Madara and I advised you to leave. The yellow flash, alone to his devices. Why didn't you listen? Everyone was either dead or they were gonna die. Blue had even taken away a member that they want to recruit in the future. Hedon, an S-rank member of the organization that they want to recruit. Because of his immortality, he was a force to be reckoned with, but Blue had took him out. Even Itachi had a role to play in the organization in the near future. But now, it all went to hell, literally. As Zetsu knew that Konan was still alive, trapped in that artificial moon. Just like his mother, Kaguya Osusuke, as Zetsu never predicted that Naruto would ever enter into deityhood. That was the one thing that Zetsu never manipulated, Naruto gaining this power. Pregnant at 17, Zetsu thought the hateful, bloodthirsty maniac Sanin would have aborted the child, and that would have just drive her deeper into darkness. She would bury herself in trying to gain knowledge of the universe, and this will also guide her into the Akatsuki hands so she could be used. But what he never expected was for her to keep the child. More than less, for the child to be born as stillborn. Knowing that the child had born dead, Zetsu felt hope that he could still manipulate the situation. But no, Orochimaru find a way to bring Naruto back to life. Guilt at making her son the messenger of death because of what she'd done. She left the child to his father. But to Zetsu's surprise, she went back before he had left for the war. She wanted to get to know him. She felt guilty. She loved him unconditionally. That was a point that Zetsu never saw. The Blue Eye existence was not something Zetsu planned on. The creation of him was not something Zetsu wanted, and he was messing with the entire plan. Things were not shaping out as he liked at all. But Naruto's second death opened a way for Kaguya to escape her prison. As long as Zetsu played his card right. Yes, he did. It was drastic. But if they didn't act now, the chance would slip through their fingers, and it would take another millennia to get her free. So they will have to act quickly and fast. Minato Namikaze was likely Zetsu's last hope of completing this mission. This is over. Akatsuki, world peace, everything. Have a nice life, Nagato. Well, what is left of it. The two-faced creature melted into the earth, leaving Nagato alone. Back with Blue and Kisame, as Naruto dug his knuckles under Kisame's chin, delivering a devastating uppercut. Each blow that the both of them took and received shook the entire water premise. Kisame flipped around as he brought down his tail, As Naruto blocked it with both arms, Kisame tried to drive a knee to Naruto's stomach. Naruto slapped it down though, as he brought his leg up to slam it inside Kisame's skull. But this shark man flew around Blue, as he dragged his arm forward only for Blue to turn and grab them, before pulling them as he slammed Kisame's face right into his knee. He was blasted upwards. He shook off the daze before shooting back himself straight towards Blue. As Naruto shifted to his side and grabbed Kisame upper arm and head, as he flipped him, boom, he slapped him right into the ground with a hard crash. Kisame batted his tail strongly as he burst out of Blue's grip. The blow pushed Blue a few feet back in the underwater dome. He moved aside as he smashed his knuckles, bursting open the head of an underwater shark that was created by Kisame. He grabbed the other one by the forehead before slamming his fist right underneath it, bursting right through it as it dispersed. More sharks were surrounding him as they all entwined to tear him to pieces. As Naruto moved, he ripped, he tear, he snap. None of the sharks survived. Kisame snarled as he came in fast, but Naruto lashed out towards him as he had to fly back rather quickly. Manipulating his water dome, his quick reflex, that was what kept him away from Blue. Blue stomped his right foot on the ground as he spread his legs slightly. As he faced Kisame, Kisame summoned a giant hammerhead shark. As Naruto shoot forward, he bursts right through the shark head first and slammed his fist into Kisame's gut. As Blue fist smashed against his forehead. For a moment, Kisame saw nothing but blackness. Blue grabbed his head and smashed it 3 times, right against his knee. Kisame was blown back in the water as Blue appeared above him, driving his feet right into his skull. He then grabbed Kisame by the back as he lowered him, slamming his body hard into the ground. Kisame tried to use his tail, but Naruto grabbed it and flipped him as he banged him into the side of the ground over and over as he picked him up by the back of his neck and kicked him right in the back. Kisame was sent sailing in his water dome. Kisame picked himself up as Naruto drive a kick right into his throat. His head snapped back. Samehata inside of Kisame bubbled as he used his tail to move away from the deadly Blue Uchiha. He then released a large quantity of chakra inside of Kisame as Kisame's neck snapped back up as he could feel his limbs once again. Not a second later, Kisame blasted straight down towards Blue as Blue raised his arm as he slapped away Kisame's blow before driving his knuckles right into Kisame's chest. Crack! Blood exploded out of Kisame's mouth. The area over his heart was smoking. It had an imprint of a fist right there. Kisame was in intense pain as Samehata pumped more chakra to fix the damage as his heart was trembling. More blood came from his mouth as his sword healed him, but the mark remained on his chest. This was the second time in minutes that Blue had pushed him close to death as his nail dig deeply into the torrent as he screamed in rage. "You're dead, Uchiha!" As he came in, but Blue swift under his attack as he shredded the bones in Kisame's arm with one vital strike. The arm went limp, only connected to the body by the skin that was holding it up. His senses flare as he spin around with a right hook as Blue fist met his fist. Snap! His fingers snap on contact. His arm pushed back as it snapped as well. The elbow was destroyed, along with the shoulder blade completely torn by one single punch. As the shoulder bone, the clavicle, right at the top, bursts and ripped through his skin as you could see the bone hanging there. Kisame's arm was now 6 inches shorter than before because it was punched straight up and he was unable to move. As Kisame floated there, as he wondered where the hell he got into this. His day had started normal enough. He woke up from his sleeping quarters in the Hinrin Tower, flirted with the ever impassive Konan. He ended up smacking Hidan into a wall when the mad bomber laughed at his failed attempt of getting Konan into his bed. He left the village for a short mission, a solo mission in Water Country, slaughtering the guards for the Water Daimyo's niece. He caught up with the girl and let Samehata feast on her. Then he came back to the Hinrin to relax. Getting called by Pain and told him to prepare for battle was unexpected, but he welcomed a challenge. And then he found out it was the Blue Uchiha. Then he remembered that girl's words. When she disrespected him, telling him to stay clear of Blue, him and the other swordsmen that remained. Now Blue was in front of him shaking his right fist. The knuckles of the gloves were worn out. As he looked at his knuckles, "Ow," he said. His milky white eyes turned up into a smile as Samehata was struggling to heal the injuries. Kisame tried to swing backwards, as Naruto had been down here for long enough. Two ghostly arms grabbed Kisame, another two grabbed onto his legs. Kisame was confused what was restraining him as he looked to see copies of the Blue Uchiha. Water clones? Kisame could not move when he was facing the Blue Uchiha. This was an execution. Blue moved, BAM! His fist slammed into Kisame's chest, right where his heart was. It happened in a second as Kisame's back swole, before it exploded, releasing the pressure that was gathered at the chest. His heart blasted out and slamming against the hidden Kage's tower as the water was dyed red before the integrity broke apart and it fell. Kisame collapsed down to the ground. Blue grabbed Kisame by the throat as he picked him up and got to the surface of the water. Rain from the hidden rain pelted down on him, washing the blood off of him from Kisame. He did not speak, he just looked at the eyes of the ex-Akatsuki member. Kisame's eyes were still open. Samehata had betrayed him. As the moment Samehata felt it, it ran, running away from the scary blue-eyed Uchiha. Kisame was confused because he was still alive. He didn't understand. As he reached out towards Samehata, but the thing was scared. But no matter what he did, Samehata wouldn't come to him. How was he still alive though? As he looked down to his chest, there was a giant hole there. Blue scoffed as he finally allowed Kisame to die. After all, his soul was coming to him. As Naruto tossed Kisame's body, Samehata rushed forward and swallowed it. As he quickly made his way, it was gonna mourn its loss of its former owner. "There we go," said Naruto. Blue rubbed his hand over his stomach. He had a small cut from Kisame when he attacked him, but that was fine. As he picked his shades back up and placed them back on, this water was becoming troublesome as he clapped his hands together. The water that was still stabbed in the ground fluttered open. As he went through hand sign, rat, dog, summoning jutsu, Foy jutsu, seal way gate to the boiling void. Seal and Ray spread out in his umbrella as they sucked the water into a whirlpool. Rain shinobis rushed up the wall as they purged, using chakra to stick to it as they watched. The water that could cover the entire hidden rain tower was sucked into an umbrella as Naruto stood there completely unaffected by the whirlpool, despite it raging by sucking all of the water. He had drawn those seals himself, forming a direct path for his crow summons to escape hell the moment he called. He suspected that the rain would interfere with his ability to call his crows out of the abyss, so he prepared before time. He picked up how to draw those seals while in Uzu. He then used his knowledge to the god tree and absorbed the knowledge of one of the older crows. The seal could not suck living beings into hell, especially humans, but exhaling creatures from the depths of hell, and like pouring water over flames that could not be quenched, releasing a sea of fire that no flood could stop. The thing was, the crow summoning contract came from the god tree. Yes, a piece of the god tree had fallen, the bark, and the contract manifested itself naturally. Him being from the Uchiha bloodline meant there was a lot of knowledge that he could gain and access, but at the point he couldn't access half of them yet. After all, he was blind with half a soul. He wasn't complete, he wasn't 100%, but despite that, he had a well of chakra that could not be depleted. Several nature transformations, spiritual and physical strength that was added on top of the one that he trained into himself when he was a normal human. A galaxy of jutsus, knowledge to creation, existence, details of the universe, unquestioned command over the Shinigami, servitudes of the crows, resurrecting the dead at will. One thing he didn't have though was ungodly regeneration. Blue had his normal regeneration. He had a tough body from when he was living. Yes. And he could not absorb chakra from the living. That meant he could not perform the healing arts because his chakra was toxic to the touch. All he could do was thread his skin back together and use his chakra to hold it until his regeneration kicked in and heal the flesh back. His time in Uzu learned how to walk and take the realm from there. It was good, but it raised some concerns for him. His fight with Jiraiya showed him the galaxy of things that he could do, but the one with Kisame warned him of his limitations. Holding his breath was fine, he could do so for 5 minutes, 7 if he was not moving. But If it took a while, he had to force a chakra into his system to destroy the molecules of water that get into his lungs, pushing in air. Orochimaru is always telling him that there was an easier way of doing things, burning the hidden rain with hellfire. Hellfire was much like Amaterasu, but a lot more hotter and ferocious. But Blue always told her the same thing. The easier things were, the less value they held, and the less satisfaction and accomplishments they had once they were accomplished. Besides, he didn't need to see in the future to know that something big was gonna happen. Outside of him murdering Minato and the Fortikage flock of friends, there was something else that was gonna happen. The water level finally got sucked into the umbrella, all of it, as his feet touched ground, as the umbrella was releasing thick steam despite the rain pouring down. As he looked around, "What are you all waiting for, Rain Shinobis?" As his hair shaded his face. "You run, or you die." Aerial drones and CCTV cameras gave the people in the bomb shelters and the underground bunkers a view of him. They saw from the moment he walked into the hidden rain to the moment where Kisame's heart burst on the ground. Civilians, Genins alike, cower in fear, hugging their loved ones because they felt like it was the last time they will ever hug them and hold them again. The news station and the police force of the hidden rain had been ordered to broadcast the news in real time, so they were witnessing everything. Blue simply smiled. "Choose." Now, he said, the Chonins, the Takabitsu Jonins, and the Jonins cower in fear. They should be protecting their village, yes, they were standing here, not doing anything. But despite being on their own turf and having the numbers, their courage was not strong enough. This person in front of them, whatever it was not human. It was far from it. It was some demon that had crawled out of hell that came to wreak vengeance and swallow all of their souls. The fear was stifling to all of them. Their hesitation and Nagato refusing to show him face pissed Naruto off. A large number of them knew him, Naruto Uchiha, the guy that they called Blue. They all read the documents about him. When Uchiha was injured, they realized that Blue stopped being human when he was pissed off. And at the moment he was pissed off, some hundreds of them turned tail as he ran. But they were instantly cut down before they could take even 2 steps. Coward civilians and fearful Genins were heartbroken, seeing their people lose the hope to fight and ran. And they were cut down by their own friends for deserting. Umino pulled his kunai out from the chest of a babyface comrade Chunin, who had been promoted some weeks ago. As he wiped the blood on his pant leg, a tear crept down from his eye. That was his first kill. Weakness was not tolerated in the hidden rain. Live for the hidden rain and die for the hidden rain. There was no other way. They weren't gonna back down now. He reached up his fist into the air as he clenched the blade that he used to finish off his gutless comrade. "For Lord Nagato," he shouted. The fires in the remaining one's heart flicker. "For Lord Nagato," they all shouted as they all released a war cry. Well, it seems the remaining ones chose death as they came towards Naruto. Meanwhile, at Fire Country capital, there was a man as he was quickly tapping on keyboard. This man was a hacker. Yes, he was working for none other than Orochimaru herself. "I've done it," as he turned towards Orochimaru, who was sitting on the windowsill. "I've done it, Orochimaru-sensei. I posted everything online, and by breakfast tomorrow, the video, the footage, it will stream for how long ever you want it. The whole world will watch. Will Konoha hackers find a way around and take it down?" she asked. "I doubt it," the man said. "Parasite," she said. That was his assigned name. "No, Orochimaru-sensei, I swear," he said. Blue was at an important part in his plan. Minato was in financial ruins. Most of his investments had been going up in flames. As the rest of the investors noticed, whatever that was put out by Minato Namikaze, the Blue Uchiha was burning it all. The trading value of Minato assets, they had dropped. The trading world was going through a malfunction. There were nine valuable people in the trading world. And with one of them dropping so quickly, 2 of them were multi-billionaires. Blue Investments, as people just know him as a man from Shell, and Minato Namikaze. Yujito saw to it as well that the word about Minato falling faction spread quickly. She was teleported across the continent with a few crow summons, and she whispered into a few people's ears, financially rich people, and the word spread quickly. With the 9 billionaires, the fire, the word that can be used as fire because it spreads like a wildfire, everyone knew. She had to be under a transformation so the Raikage wouldn't find out that she was helping the man that scarred his little brother Killer Bee. Orochimaru was to oversee the second part under the plan, while he dealt with the dying god. Minato was in shambles already. His wealth had been taken away. Next was his golden reputation, as it will spread tomorrow. By tonight, going on into tomorrow, everyone will know of Minato's hands in the criminal part of the world. The corrupted deals, the twisted things that man had done. Yes, his reputation will be destroyed tomorrow. Meanwhile, Hinrin, tentacles made from the muddy ground, burst forth as they skewer 10 ninjas and yank them down, their heads smashing against a tough stone. Blue twists under a kick from Akunoichi as he came up, one uppercut. Her head was rattled. He snapped her head to the side as he dropped low, avoiding the ox kick. He swept around as he slammed his heel right into the man's throat, crushing his windpipe before driving the man's head down to the ground, cracking his skull. As Blue went through hand sign, "Take cover!" a Jonin shouted to the rest of the ninjas that remained. Water release. Summer, Gatling gun. The ones that were stupid enough not to take cover got skewered, their body pierced. Water needles, long and thick, tear through them, ripping them to pieces. A squadron of Chunin came rushing towards Naruto from the other side. But someone rushed towards his left as a person slammed a fist right into his face, knocking his shades off. Uno's eyes enlarged. He was surprised that he was able to actually do it. The Rain Ninjas were surprised at the achievement of one of their own. It only lasted for about 2 seconds though, as Blue's face snapped towards Uno. As Blue was grinning, his white eyes seemed to glee with excitement. Uno tripped back. He rolled as Naruto's fist destroyed the ground where his head was. Uno scampered as something burst through his leg as he felt it was a senbon that ripped through it. "Where are you going, kid?" Uno looked up as Naruto moved towards him. "You chose to die, didn't you?" A shinobi appeared in the sunshine between him and Uno, swinging a kunai towards Blue's neck. Blue leaned back as he then came in and teared the man's head right off his shoulders. He turned as he slammed his heel right into the chest of another incoming attacker before reaching out and gouging out the eyeballs of another attacker as he held on into the empty socket and twisted the person. He lifted them by their head and slammed it into the earth, cracking their skull. He picked the person back up by their eye sockets and used the person as a mid-shield, blocking a hail of kunais and shurikens. The ranged snowbies quickly stopped, realizing their mistake, as they were just hitting the already dead comrade it seems. As Blue threw the man, his head snapped back when it hit a rock formation. Well, he was already dead anyway, from the crack to the skull that knocked him out clean. I knew his head was completely snapped back. There was no way he was getting up from that. All of them were looking towards Blue. None of them were paying attention to the umbrella, as something came out of it. It was a crow. But this crow was different. Its beak looked like a clay color. Its beady black eyes looking everywhere. He purged itself right on the head of a Chunin. The man was startled. He then looked up as the bird opened its wings. It had mouths on its wings as Crow Datara chew at something. The bird cawed as Blue spoke. "Cats." The explosion was large enough to stall the rain for a good full minute, wiping out all of the shinobis on that side, creating a wide explosion that tear down buildings, stalls, walls. The underground bunkers and bomb shelters were put to the test. Some of them collapsed, killing everyone inside. The others were barely in one piece. As the fire burned bright, it started to get damp a bit by the rain that was pouring down hard. Blue looked at the boy that had hit him as he saw a medic carrying him away to heal him. They were praying for salvation. They were praying for help. They were praying for Nagato. Cries was coming from the village. Devastation, mayhem, death, screams of pain and agony. It was music to Blue ears. He wasn't going to go into the hidden rain tower to fetch Nagato. That god was going to come to him. Sooner or later, the god will come. He then paused. It seemed that the god finally heard the cries of his people. That's enough! The doors of the tower swing open. The ground under Naruto's feet broke apart as a brown snake with a diamond-shaped head snatched out, biting down on the man as it continues descent into the heavens. Blew off as he ripped the snake apart, as the thing had managed to puncture him. He was a snake summoner, formerly, so venom scarcely worked on him. but the two puncture wound in his chest, they were irksome. As he turned in mid-air, a metal fist slammed into his face. Another one slammed into his skull. He was sent sailing as he burst right through the clouds. If he had sight, he would have admired the starless moonlight sky. The azure path dropped down to the ground at thud. Nagato came out of the double door, shirtless, clad in only a black pair of pants and blue sandals. His back was devoid of the many black rods. His red hair streamed down into his face. His breathing was rattling, and you could see the ribs over his body. He looked around at the destruction. His expression was grim. His pats appeared behind him. As he looked at all the destruction, the Prithapa waved his hand as the medics picked up the comrades that had survived and took them away. As Nagato looked up, he could still sense his opponent. His Rinnegan glowed ominously. "Come to me, Blue Uchiha." The ground cracked underneath his feet. "Universal pull," he said, as Blue was yanked so hard fire engulfed his entire body. Boom! His crash leveled a huge part of the hidden rain. Nothing but destruction. The dying god finally showed himself to face off against the underworld, the embodiment of death. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, so do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.